The Broad Show 2022, Season 2, where we endeavor to save the world or possibly end it. Brought to you by Loose Productions. Join us every Friday on YouTube and Facebook Live. You can find us everywhere. Join us here live, 3 p.m. on The Jaw Show. Hello and welcome to The Jaw Show with my very special guest, Ian MacDonald. You're joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. We're not only having this interview, we're friends on another networking site called MNO, and just wanted to put that out there so that anyone who sees this know that I got my contacts from MNO. So if you're interested in that kind of a networking site, I highly recommend it, and I know he will too. So
for sure.
But I know the reason you're here today is tell me a little bit more about your business and what it is that you do. So can you give me an explanation about what it is you do?
What I do is, in the easiest, most simple way of putting it, is I help people save money and I give them alternative means to create multiple streams of income completely on their own time.
Okay. And when you're doing that, how are you helping them to do that? What are you using to do that?
Well, we have 3 things that specifically do that. The first one, which is probably my personal favorite, is called Bill Genius. It's a service that negotiates lower billing rates for all of your utility bills, as well as some other bills. And they just recently expanded and they're actually negotiating certain insurance bills as well. Then we have what's called I Go for Less, which is also completely free. And what it is you sign up for it and it can get you up to 35% off on all travel costs. So hotels, airplanes, any type of events, like when you go out, you can get discounts on restaurants and say like live shows and stuff like that. And then the third one, which is the one that helps you generate income, is unfortunately not free, but it is currently known as the world's #1 educational platform for teaching people how to trade in Forex, crypto, and NFTs. And all 3 of those can generate their own stream of income. And so for anybody who knows, millionaires are millionaires because they have multiple streams of income, not just one.
Hey, cool. That's good to hear. And then so when people are using these products and they're going with what they're going to do, especially with the drill gin, saving bills on money on your bills. I don't know anybody who doesn't want to save money on their bills. Now, how is that used? Do I go onto the site and then I click on a certain thing that tells me, oh, I can save this much money, or is it a little bit more personal that or not? Little user friendly, whatever.
Well, it's actually extremely straightforward. When you go to Bill Genius, I could give you an interactive video that will tell you like what all you can save on and everything like that. Or if someone is interested enough, I can give them a link that literally takes them to Bill Genius. They sign up, and then all they do is it says add bills, and you take screenshots of your bills and you upload it to the service, and they'll tell you if they need extra things to negotiate it, and then they just get to work. You'll get emails saying, hey, Steven is negotiating your Verizon wireless bill, and then it usually takes about 30 days.
Right. And with the other service that you're offering as well, and because I'm having those evil people have gotten into my mind today a little bit.
Oh no!
I always have remembering. Can you remind me what that was again?
The I Go for Less one or the Elevate one?
The Elevate.
Okay, so Elevate is an educational platform.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on at your own time whenever you want, and they also have live classes, and you can learn Forex trading, which stands for foreign exchange currency. You can learn how to trade cryptocurrency, and you can also learn how to trade NFTs, which are those non-fungible tokens, or like the pictures that people put up there. And all 3 of those can generate you income. And so what we do is we have people who are professionals, people who have succeeded in those fields, completely on their own. And then they turn around and they have a passion for teaching people. So they will teach people how to do each one of those. And they pretty much, the only thing that those educators get out of it, aside from, you know, what we're paying them to educate people, is the satisfaction of, hey, I helped this person become a millionaire, you know,
Right.
or I helped these people become a millionaire. And the other part that makes it unique is once you join Elevate, you're not alone. You're with an entire community of people who are trading and investors who all can sit there, and we'll send notifications. Like just this morning, someone posted a notification that there was a good deal coming up on gold. And so I looked at it, and I went in and went ahead and got the trade on it, but it's not done yet. So I couldn't tell you what I earned on it. The last thing that they teach you to do, though, is they also teach you how to do it with a demo account or a fake account. So basically you're like playing a video game and learning how to do it in safety without actually risking your own money before you go make a live account and use real money.
Right. Well, you know, first you're saving me money, now you're making me money, and now you want to send me places too?
Yes, sir.
All
So
right.
the last part that we have is it's called I Go for Less, and it's a completely free exclusive platform. And the only way it's free is by making it exclusive, meaning you have to find someone like me who's actually putting it out there. But once you get in, you can save 35% on pretty much everything travel related: cars, yachts, cruises, airplanes, hotels. But there's also an event side and activities side. So like there's you can save money going to golf courses, you can save money going to restaurants or live shows and stuff like that. And the
Mhm.
best part is all three of our services work through a program called the Boom Foundation. So just for signing up for them and actually using them, every time you use them, they feed children across the world, including in the United States of America, as well as protect them from human trafficking services. So that's just a little part of how people in my industry, we help save the world every day.
Okay. Well, you're kind of beating me to a punch there a little bit, but all right, we'll get there. We're not supposed to talk about my evil plan quite yet, but we'll work on that.
Who said it was your evil plan?
Well, you know, some of those things that we like to think about, our evil plans are so complicated, but my evil plan and your evil plan are two different things.
It's a very true story.
So, you know, and I guess, you know, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you, Ian, as well, you know, because people are gonna, if they like what they see here, I want them to be able to come to you and know you a little bit more. So tell me a little bit more about yourself as well.
Alrighty. Well, out of high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps, and I deployed 4 times in 4 years. 1 combat deployment, 3 non-combat deployments. While I was in, I got out on honorable discharge, so I'm still a Marine. And then from there, I went homeless and unemployed for about a year, because it was during the recession in 2010. And as a veteran, the businesses were required to pay veterans more than even most college graduates. Not a lot more, but you know, so we were the last people on the pick list to get hired anywhere.
Mhm.
From there, I moved from my home state to a different state because I got a job offer immediately just for going there to visit family. I got offered a job on the airplane. So I took it and I bounced around a little bit. And then in about 2016, side effects from my Marine Corps career caught up to me and I became fully disabled. Well, my industry up until then was culinary. I'm a chef. So, and I was a sous chef in 2 different 1 Michelin star restaurants. So I'm not just speaking out of nothing. I actually got somewhere.
Yeah.
And then going to being fully disabled where I can't even stand for more than 4 hours a day, kind of crushed me because all my dreams were related around culinary world.
Oops.
And I went depressed for a little while. It happens to a lot of people. And then I was introduced to this industry, this specific business, which has helped me completely turn around my life. I have a stable income. I help people for a living, and I help other people who are in similar situations get out of their situations. And to
Mhm.
me, there's nothing more rewarding than helping people, even if they don't necessarily turn around and say thank you.
All right, now you're doing a better job of saving the world than half of the guests I have on are doing about saving the world. So, and but everybody has their experiences and what they've been through in life. Sometimes those shape the things that you put your passions into in life as well. So hearing that part of your story, and I would like to personally thank you for your service, because most of my family members have been in the service at one time or another. Some of them have been in world wars, some of them have been doing other things as other wells, but I've had pretty much a lot of my family serve, and I'd like to say thank you for your service as well. Appreciate that. And just in general, being a good man who's trying to do right by the tenets and things that we live by in America here. So, just trying to make everyone's life just a little bit better. Do we always get it right? No, but we try our best to get it as right as possible. It's a melting pot for a reason. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of people with a lot of passion to change something sometimes. So, and my wife is disabled as well, but that didn't happen in service. That happened after service. And so I understand the disability. I'm disabled myself, so I understand that as well. I guess I want to know is that, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm trying to figure out, well, it sounds great, but, I'm wondering how much this cost.
Well, in terms of Bill Genius and I Go for Less, they're technically free. So the way Bill Genius works is you put in your bills, they negotiate it for you. If you already have the best deals, they'll come back to you and say, hey, we couldn't save you anything. So congratulations, you're already on the best deal. But most of the time they save people money. And then what they'll do is they'll split the savings with you. So it's still technically free. So using myself as an example, they saved me $40 on my Verizon bill. So I pay them $20 a month and I keep the other $20. And the way I look at it is that's $20 less than I was spending before. So it's still free because they saved me that money. And they've saved me more on other bills too, but that's just the one I'm using as an example.
Right. Go ahead.
As for Elevate though, it does have a monthly subscription fee. I have to double check what that is because
That's okay. Just knowing that
forgot
it's
what it
a
is.
subscription fee that comes with it on that's something that they will have to pay for initially, but in the long run, if it's making you $1 million by next year, that will look like chum change, right?
Yeah. Well, just to put it out there, a lot of people don't really understand percentages very well.
Mhm.
But for example, so if you were on average, the people who get into Elevate are getting around 2% a day. Okay. So most investments in their life, you're looking at somewhere between more like 3 to like 10%. And that's like your 401ks and other things like that. But that's in a year. So if you're able to get 2% a day and then it accumulates, I don't know about $1 million in a day or, something like that. You have to have a massive account to get that
Right.
amount.
I'm talking about like $1 million within a year, more than that, not a day, but
Well, as an idea for you, I did some math, and as a perfect trader, which there's no such thing as a perfect trader, I could, if was absolutely perfect, I could take $500 and in exactly a year turn it into 700,000 as a
Right.
perfect trader. But like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect trader. So that's that's a figure of what you can do with it.
Right. And then the to go thing, of course, you're paying for their services to help you ways to save as well, but they're going to take a small fee from that as well. But it sounds like it though, what you're saving is actually kind of covering the cost most of the
Yes.
time.
Well, the travel savings is completely free. So,
Okay.
I mean, you pay for your airplane ticket, for example. So, what most people don't know is that when you go online and you're looking at Expedia and all those travel agencies, right?
Mhm.
They're all actually owned by one company. So it's one company that created multiple faces for it. So they get all these tickets at wholesale price. And we all know that wholesale price has a lot cheaper than they normally do. And then what they do is you go to Expedia, then you go to travel and you go to Hotline. And since it's one company that owns them all, they sit there and it registers you and goes, okay, somebody this person is looking for traveling tickets. So then you go through 3 or 4 of them and it tells you, okay, you're saving this much money, when really the wholesale price is like, say, $200, and they cranked it up to $2,000. And then by the time you bought it, they bumped it down to like 1,500, where it really only cost them 200. I'm making up numbers here. I don't know the exact numbers.
All right, I understand. You're just giving an example of what it could do.
Yes.
So,
And so what we do is I Go For Less can get the same wholesale prices, and then we just offer it for less expensive costs.
right.
And then we can sit there and be like, hey, we helped save you more. And the cost is enough to cover like all of our expenses and all that, but it's still a lot cheaper than all those other people's that are one
Yeah,
company.
that's awesome. So do you have anything coming up that's coming up with your thing that you think people should get in on as soon as possible? I mean, that's something, I know all of it sounds like we should just jump on it right away, but I know everyone has different degrees of what they can and can't afford. And some of them might be able to do some of it or none of it, or maybe one part of it. So, but I know there's there with everything going on, especially with the pandemic and some of the people in Florida and stuff that happened. And I'm sorry, you weren't the cause of the hurricane. You're just the name that went along with it. I'm
That's
sure they'll
what
get to
you think.
Karen one day and we'll all laugh. Ha ha ha. But yeah, I hope that that's a pretty not a storm we have to look back at this last one. And I'm happy to say my father and family are okay in Florida. And a lot of people I know are safe in Florida right now, but I know a lot of people are in desperate need of help right now down in Florida as well. So, and someone who's been in the military and been on the front lines and stuff like that, from what I'm hearing and stuff like that, from what I know of you as well, you know what that means and what that requires for you to do, not only as a person, but as a person of service as well. So, and that's always important to me, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give my little bit of a slice of idea of what I think the world, what would make the world a better place. And, and kind of, going, well, I do have that backup evil plan, right?
Right.
And stuff. So I've got that, but, we'll get to that in just a second. But, okay, so they've done that and they've considered one of you. How do they get a hold of you if they'd like to get a hold of you?
Well, I have a Facebook page that's called The Sage of Wealth. And I am the sage in the making. I am not qualified to be a sage yet, but that is one of my end goal in life. And so they can contact me there. I believe you have put my cell phone number in as contact information and my email address. You post those somewhere, I believe.
If I hadn't, I will make sure it gets onto one of the posts where I put when I put the show out for the for everybody to see, because this is a pre-recorded episode. So
Yeah.
we're doing it because of your schedule today. And you know what I tell all my guests? You can't make one of my Friday live shows. We can reschedule it or schedule it before, so that at least you can tell people what's going on. Well, I normally anything else that you would like to tell me about what you do?
Well, for people who are interested in typically the services, I mean, right now people in Florida can use I Go For Less a lot, especially the people who get displaced as a result of the hurricane that has been gloriously named after me.
Right.
Typically there's shelters that'll help them, but that's not always the case. I know several people in Florida who were displaced from previous hurricanes, and they had to go get hotels and apartment, like hotels, and stay in places where they actually had to pay for it. And I Go For Less will help them spend less doing that. So there's that. But when you're looking at Elevate and then Build Genius, since it is technically free, can save you enough money to cover the cost typically for the Elevate subscription. So if you're one of those people that's doing the math really well, you go to Build Genius, you put in all of your utility bills. Then they do more than just utility bills, but you put in most of your bills, and they save you enough money to the point where you can start learning Elevate, and you actually usually are saving enough money to start a low level account as well on like one of the platforms. I would personally suggest Forex first, because it's the cheapest, whereas crypto and NFTs are a little bit more expensive. But using those, if you do it right, you can get all the services for free and get yourself started on generating more forms of income. That's my personal recommendation on how to go about it. That's about all I got.
All right, that's good to hear. Well, I just want to make sure that we do our level best to make sure everyone understands what it is that you do and stuff like that. And I think we've done a very good job at that. Now, normally I would ask you at this time how you save the world, but you've already kind of told me that, and you're trying to stop my evil plan really hard right now. But besides everything that you have done or have done up to this point, is there anything extra that you do? Maybe it's in your personal life that's not related to your business, or something that you do personally just because, well, if I'm starting to make some wealth, maybe I want to put my little bit money towards this or that. So if there's anything else that you do besides what you've already told me, I'd like to hear it.
Well, on the side, there is an investment opportunity that I have found, where you put your money in and it generates a 3% weekly income return. So for those who actually have a little bit of money and they don't have the time to do the Forex, this one's a great solution as well, because typically in 6 months, it will double whatever you put in initially.
Right.
As long as it's over $1,500, because anything under that, the monthly fee will eventually kill it.
Right. So, kind of one of the things that I do here on the Josh Show is that I try to find ways to bring people closer together and try to get people, especially local business owners in Minnesota, because I believe in local business. That's one of my passions. I believe that the mom and pops of the world need to stay alive, and the McDonald's of the world, they're great and wonderful to have for convenience and stuff like that. But I can tell you how many times I went into a restaurant that didn't look like it should be a restaurant, but I had one of the best meals I've ever had in some of those places, and when you're homeless and you're on the street sometimes, like I have been once in my life. It wasn't for very long, but it was long enough for me to know I really didn't want to go back there if I didn't have to. But during that time I was, for just a short amount of time, you know, um, I found that mom and pops were more likely to give table scraps or something that they weren't going to be using with another customer to somebody who might be in need, especially if it was in an area that had a little bit more of a homeless population, or at least they donate their food to people who'd use it if they didn't use it, like if it was a catering company or whatever else, stuff like that. So that's where I kind of got my passion for, because of my circumstances and everything that I went through and stuff in my life, because I had a single mom my whole life. My father came back into the picture later in my life, but for a long time, I didn't want anything to do with him. And then eventually we've come to terms and become better father and son. But it's one of those things as well. So I guess I want to hear, about any kind of experiences that you just had in your life that maybe changed you or motivated you, or
Well, in that aspect, I think the easiest way for me to explain it is I have two long-term goals. Okay. And so one of them is motivated by my mentor, who, as I said, he uplifted me and has completely changed my life from a very dark and negative path of, wallowing in my own self-worthlessness and because of where I was at. Um, and so my current goal, which is by 2025, I want to help 10,000 families earn $5,000 or more in their households. And that will help, because my intent is to help uplift people, because there's so many people struggling these days. It'll help turn a lot of people's lives around, and it completely changes their aspect of living when they don't have to worry about finances anymore. But my really, really, really long-term goal is I want to build a school, and I want to call it an academy. And it's basically designed off of some of the older schools in history, but the students are orphans and people who are going through the what is that program called? The foster care program.
right?
So we bring in all these orphans and foster care kids, and they live in the school. Okay. And they get educated in manners of business and other parts on top of normal education. They receive normal education, but they're also educated in business. They're educated in finances, and they're educated in what they actually need to do to completely turn their life around and make an impact on society. And that is my long-term goal. And that was inspired because my family, my parents were divorced. My dad is not exactly amongst the sane. And so I was denied having a lot of experiences of what it's like to have a proper family. And so I relate to that a lot. And so my best friend, his parents to this day are still married, and they gave me experiences that I would never have gotten otherwise. So I'm making the school in honor to them and what they gave me.
Right. Right. Okay, I'd just like to point out this to you here. Okay, Evil Plan Zero, Ian 1.
Okay.
Because I'm sitting here going, thinking maybe it's time to give up the evil plan. You're doing so good here, But I can relate to everything that you said. I've been my wife has had a lot of things happen in her life that, well, she was adopted by a wonderful family that did give her a decent upbringing in life. And later in life, she was able to go see her birth mother that I actually helped her go do to find that missing connection that she was hoping to get someday. And she got one of the better stories where, oh, I really didn't want to have to give you up, but I had no other choice because her circumstances were far beyond anything I had ever been through. And she's a warrior and a woman warrior in mine. She's a badass broad and I love her to death. So we all have someone like that in our lives that has mentored us or Kevin, my personal story, one of the people who were one of my founding members of people was actually a teacher. His name was J.A.W. He did a little class back in high school, and it was one of those ones where we were still when I was more depressed and more anxiety. I know you can't believe it, but I have developmental learning disabled, and I have anxiety and depression, not because of a chemical imbalance, because of what was happening to me when I was younger, and some of the stuff that I couldn't overcome because of bullying and other things that had happened to me in my life. And but Gary, he had a class called positive direction, and what we had to do for our classes, by the end of the class, we had to come up with a page or so to tell our life story, whatever we felt comfortable sharing, and everyone in that class would work on what their story would be, and we would every once in a while get up there and share a story about like that. When I had gotten to the end of that class, I had started out as depressed, I'm never going to be happy ever again, to I know I at least have some place I can put hope in. And when I shared my personal story with the students at the time, half of them were crying because I was probably the worst one out of all of them that were in that class. So, and that's the thing I'm going to be talking on my next season 3 coming up here October 14th here. But that's going to be always. I got a couple more interviews to do. I got before the official end of September. You're my last, but I got one more interview right before my first personal issue episode to be a little bit more, telling people a little bit more about me and why I'm doing the Josh show. Excuse me.
Okay.
Heart monkeys. Anyway, but that's kind of what I do. But I'd like to get your take on things and what's going on with your life and things that have happened to you as well. So if there's anything you would like to share or anything that's personal about you that you wouldn't mind sharing. I know you've done already a bunch already, but it's kind of like one of those things where I want to make sure that the people who actually tune in and watch the Josh show get to know more about me and getting to know you some more. So I guess my question for you was, I know that before your mentor, you had a very after service, but was there anything before service that was a little bit more difficult for you before you went into service? And then after, I know because you were in service and what you had to do for your country, but was there anything before that happened that was something that kind of...
Well, like I said, my parents were divorced. I was the typical book nerd. I love to read, I love to play video games, and I was very bad at associating with other people. I could understand where they came from, but I was very bad at interacting with them. So I was the kid in the corner of the classroom who got bullied, picked on and stuff like that. I actually, what you told me reminded me of something that happened to me in my sophomore year. My English teacher had this project that we did that was called Your Hero Archetype. And what he did is he wanted to know what kind of hero we were. And we did it in a system of interviewing another student. And so then that student had to write an essay on your life and how you're becoming a hero. And that helped change some aspect of my life too. But my life at home when I was growing up, I felt like it was prison, and the only freedom I had was going to school, which is awkward. I makes me one of the very few kids growing up that actually liked school. I probably hated it in the same aspects everybody else does. But when you go to home and you're being told that, you're basically living a life of oppression under someone who views himself as a religious dictator, it's not very fun.
Right.
And you do anything you can to escape from it. And I did pretty much that. I would write books all the time. I'd play video games. And my reasoning for it was I wanted to escape from my life. And yeah.
Cool. Well, I know we spent a lot of time today here talking about not only your business and my business and what's going on with both of us. And I'd like to really thank you for being here today and being part of the show. I'd like to say you did a great interview. You did awesome. I think, one of the things I am interested in is taking advantage of the Bill Genius. I just have to come out of some medical stuff this next year that I and my wife both have to go through before I can probably take advantage of that. And that's only because I'm not gonna have time to do it. Other than that, for at this point, because I just found out some information, and my wife's gonna have a surgery that's gonna make her very more disabled than she wants to be, but she'll come back and have a prosthesis afterwards. So,
Well, my heart goes out to you.
she's actually pretty good with it, but and I don't, I'm only saying it, so I'm not telling her exactly what she's having her. She wants only certain people, but she put it all over Facebook already. So if you want to find out what my wife Eunice is having done, you can go look at her Facebook page and give her a hearty har for me. But anyway, I just want to say thank you again, Ian MacDonald, for being on the show and telling me about all of your wonderful products here today. And I'm glad to have you on the show. And for all of you out there in Jawland here, or whatever you want to call it, the pit of despair, and that's my fan page that never got any use, and I just keep it open for one day. People might go, oh, here's the random comment here and there. So thank you very much yet again. Thank you for being on the show, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you very much for having me.
I really appreciate it.
I do too.